Rob's Roundtable. Getting back at it, we got Mike's story here from Sports Betting Intel. We're going to give you the raw takes. We're going wide receivers here. And I toot this guy's horn a little bit. This fucker would not shut up about Puka Nacua last year.
It's true.
On every show we did, he brought up Puka Nacua. I want to just tip your hat, your non-existent hat to these people.
I don't know that I brought up every show,
You
but
did.
I tipped
You
you and Nick to it. I was hoping that Nick might have bailed out on this one so that he didn't have to hear about it. It was him, and it was Sam Laporta. Don't forget that either.
I know,
Yeah.
but like the Puka Nacua was out of nowhere. No one was talking about him when you were. We did this way early before the draft process, and you mentioned him saying, watch out for this guy. I was like, that sounds like a necklace.
It's Puka Nacua for the Rams.
Puka Nacua.
Nakua.
Puka Nacua.
I love it. Puka.
Puka
right?
Nacua. Right.
You're like, no, he's good. And lo and behold, I ended up getting him in like 13 spots.
Is he drafted in the first round this year? Is he being drafted? Okay.
Yes, he's going to be. To toot my own horn a little bit, I had Quentin Johnston. I had a lot of deep cuts up higher than him that didn't really pan out, like A.T. Perry. Still believe in him, by the way. I had Quentin Johnston down at 8. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see anyone have him lower than that. Some guys had him at 4 or 5 to hedge their bets. I had him at fucking 8. 8. And we had a long argument. It was heated.
There's a reason that he's the consensus number 1 pick for wide receiver.
Oh, well, I have an 8, so like... and this is not a joke. I'm telling you why. I'm going to tell you why right now. I told you how bad he was, and then you started watching more into the film, and you probably downgraded him to maybe 3 or 4.
You know what blinded me was the postseason that year and just how far TCU went. But
he was bad.
He was bad, and he will remain bad. He was bad.
So,
he is bad.
Don't trust who I like. Trust who I don't like.
That's good advice. He knows who he doesn't like.
Wide receivers. Do you ever notice on the highlight tapes how bad the music is?
Oh, it's terrible.
Bro.
I don't know what's wrong with people. It is like I'm muted. I have to mute it. I can't watch any highlight tapes.
I know. It's just like auto-tune.
And then they'll do the
pop and bubbly in the club.
The late 90s graphics with the flash or the smoke or whatever. And I'm like, just show us the highlights. We're not here to be entertained.
It's
we want
bad.
to study this film.
So we're going off Pro Football Focus, PFF's standard ranks for these receivers. We're going to go through the top 7 they have. We're going to give our top 10 along with the top 7 to see how the overlap is. We don't know each other's lists. A lot of surprises here. A lot of fun. Let's get into it.
All right.
Number 1, PFF, Marvin Harrison Jr. No surprise there. Guy's a fucking monster. Generational player. Can't miss. The can't miss of this draft. If you ask me, what say you, Story?
He's the best prospect in college football. Probably in the last 3 years.
Dude, yeah. I think in the last 10 years.
In
terms of wide receiver. Chase was good.
But
he didn't play football.
Marvin Harrison has the prototypical alpha wide receiver stature. He's 6'3", 6'4", 220.
6'4", 210.
Okay, 210. But he's got elite speed, right? Elite playmaking speed. 4.3 speed. Yeah.
He's got the pedigree.
High-end hands. Route running is, I mean, the one downside is his cuts aren't quite as sharp as you would hope for somebody of that pedigree. But yeah, I mean, he's the son of Marvin Harrison, who's a Hall of Famer. Probably.
Also a murderer, but...
Murderer?
Alleged murderer.
Okay.
You didn't hear about that?
No.
Car wash. Yeah, a guy got killed at his car wash. He totally did it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry, Marvin, but
yeah, way to bring us down.
Yeah, sorry. Marvin Harrison Jr. had nothing to do with this. He was probably only fucking 10 years old.
As far as we know, he's innocent until proven guilty. Anyway, he's a top 3 pick, probably maybe 4 if the top 3 all take quarterbacks. But yeah, he's not getting out of the top 5. That's a guarantee.
He's one of the main reasons. As much as I love Justin Fields and I'm pissed about what we did with Caleb Williams and Justin Fields, it's because I wanted Marvin Harrison. A can't-miss guy. And, yeah, we got Keenan Allen. I like that. But, dude, you pair him with DJ Moore. Oh, I know it doesn't necessarily fit Justin Fields' skill set to have a receiver like this. But you know this guy is going to be, at the very least, an all-pro.
Yeah, the only thing that could hold him back from fantasy relevance in year 1 is the landing spot. And if he goes to, like, New England, that's going to be tough. If he goes to Washington, that's going to be
Arizona
tough.
will be okay?
Arizona, I think the consensus is that Arizona is probably going to take him. Where's Arizona drafting? At 4, right? If he goes to Los Angeles, at the Chargers, that's a really good.
I would love that.
If he goes to Tennessee, that would be huge.
They have too many. They can't go to Tennessee. They just signed Calvin Ridley.
Oh, that's right.
Ridley and Hopkins and Traylon Burks.
And at 7, he won't get down that far as well. So the lowest he'll go is he won't get past Arizona at 4.
No. Or whoever trades up to get him.
Right. Somebody might trade up, and then that becomes a problem, though, if they've got... We saw what happened with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Not as generational a prospect, but still a very good prospect out of Ohio State last year. Buried on the depth chart. Yeah. And still buried.
So for me, the one thing landing spot for him, I said doesn't matter because even if he goes to New England, he's gonna feast with targets. And the guy's talent, I don't care I don't care if it was Mac Jones, who's not on the team anymore. I see him having 90 catches and 1,400 yards.
Okay.
Because who else is there?
In year one?
Although, that's where wide receivers go to die.
That's true. They do.
What do you have for comps?
So my high-end comp is A.J. Green at his prime. I loved watching A.J. Green.
A.J. Green's a baller, man. Underrated.
And then this would be early career C.D. Lamb when he was struggling to find his position on the field. So
that's your low end?
That's my low end, yeah.
Okay.
So mark my words, this is going to happen in week 1 or 2. So if you watched some of the film, right?
Yeah.
You see how Marvin Harrison Jr., he'll hold the ball out a little bit. He's going to get it knocked away by a defensive back early in this season.
This ain't the Big Ten, bro.
Yeah, it's going to happen, and people are going to be devastated when it does. But mark my words, he will learn from that experience, and he will come back stronger. I'm just telling you, when he gets it knocked out in week 1 or week 2, don't be surprised.
The difference is wide receivers fumbling, although still devastating, it doesn't make you ride the pine like a running back fumbling.
No, and can we agree that's the stupidest, not the stupidest, but one of the stupidest things that coaches do, to take your best player off the field, one of your best players.
Unless it becomes a Melvin Gordon situation where you fumble 7 times in 10
Antonio
games.
Gibson.
Right, and you're not that good in the first place. But like wide receivers don't fumble as often, and he's too good. I'm not worried about that with him. You're going to lose the 2 points in fantasy, and you're going to see all the talking heads, right? Fuck them. Fuck you, Skip Bayless. All right, my high end, Randy Moss, baby. Come on, dude. I know Randy Moss is probably the second or third best receiver of all time, but everything matches up, right? Everything matches up. The size, the speed. If anything, he's a more polished receiver coming out than Randy Moss was.
Who's your low end? Because Marvin Harrison's destined for stardom, right?
My low end's A.J. Green.
Okay.
I'm saying that's very high if your low end is a no doubt Hall of Famer in A.J. Green. And if it wasn't for the injuries, A.J. Green would be up there with some of the greats.
A.J. Green's career kind of went out with a whimper.
A.J. Green was very slight, though. He was
tremendous,
but he was 190, right?
He had a Hall of Fame trajectory, and then injuries started to creep in.
Well, how much do you think A.J. Green weighed? 200? He's 6'5", though.
Yeah.
That's very
super
slight,
slender frame.
Very slight. Where Randy Moss is slight, but Randy Moss also never got hit because you couldn't catch him. Yeah. And Randy Moss actually, dude, he had a 2-year when he went to the Raiders. That was he was in a desert somewhere.
It was tough.
So we both agree Marvin Harrison is a can't miss number 1. And if it wasn't for this next guy, it would have been not even close. And I know you love Nabers.
I do.
Malik Nabers out of LSU, 6 foot, 200 pounds.
It's 1A and 1B
thick
for me.
Yeah.
And I think that Nabers will be drafted in the top 7 somewhere.
I think so too. I think the Chargers, perfect spot for him. Much as they want to get Marvin Harrison, take the second guy. Don't trade up.
So not the tall. I mean, he's the same size as Jamar Chase in terms of height, weight.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy? Jamar Chase is only 6 foot tall.
It's mind-boggling. I mean, I watched him at LSU. He carried me to a fantasy championship, and then the biggest concern for him was he was dropping everything in training camp, even though it wasn't that bad. But like Malik Nabers, Jamar Chase has the same after-the-catch playmaking ability, right? 200, 205, whatever it is. Just in and out of breaks, better than anybody else on the field, is going to be a transcendent talent as soon as he gets his footing in the NFL. The big concern for him is, can we do, for Malik Nabers, I mean, are we going to see it over a 17-game season? Right? It's a lot different endurance-wise when you're playing 12 games in college, and then you got a big break.
At least he's 200 pounds.
Yes.
Do you think he's as physical as what we've seen with Jamar Chase? Because Jamar Chase plays way bigger. He plays like Des Bryant. And, Jamar Chase is probably only 210 pounds.
Yeah, I'd say they're probably, in terms of strength and athleticism, they're very equivalent. So,
I think Nabers is faster.
I don't
think he's as physical. He didn't run. He ran the pro day 4.35.
Yeah,
which is
I have.
crazy.
You got to add 0.5 of a second
So
for
4.4.
Yeah,
Which
for
is
pro day stuff.
Because Garrett Wilson ran like a 4.42.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh, he's really not that fast. Get the fuck out of here." They're literally like 0.02 matters, to these nerds.
Yeah, Jamar Chase ran a 4.38 at LSU's pro day a couple of years ago. So
same speed.
Take that for what it's worth. Yeah, about the same speed.
I feel like Nabers plays faster though, but I feel like Chase plays more physical. If that makes sense.
I think I agree with that. Chase has a more diverse route tree too. Nabers, he could expand it a little. A lot of go routes, a lot of outs.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a problem coming back to the ball, so he has trouble boxing out defenders, like planting his feet and boxing out defenders. So that would be a concern at the next level if you're talking about curl routes and ends and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But he will be starting as a Y very quickly and then move to an X by the end of the year.
What kind of comps do you have?
So high end, Stephon Diggs, and then low end, Garrett Wilson.
Wow. What's crazy though is that if you're high end, like he is so much better. I mean, Stephon Diggs was a 4th round pick, and he went to a small school. I forget the school. Was it like a?
Top of my head, I can't remember.
It was a random state school.
It was Maryland.
Yeah, so Stephon Diggs went to Maryland. Yeah. Small school, ran a 4.46. Garrett Wilson's perfect because I have 3 comps, all high-end comps. He is a blend of these 3 players. Jalen Waddle, but bigger and stronger. Chris Olave, bigger and stronger, but has kind of the quick feet. The straightaway speed of Waddle, the quick feet of Olave.
About the same size, too.
And Garrett Wilson's kind of shiftiness and kind of aggressiveness.
That aggressiveness is why I have Garrett Wilson as a low-end comp, because there is some difference to their games, certainly, but that aggressive, you don't see that very often, and after the catch ability is not something that can be taught.
And I'd say his low end will be Chris Olave, just because I love Chris Olave. I didn't like him coming out. I whiffed on that one. Chris Olave is a pretty weak player. And one thing I noticed and this might just be scheme and Jaden Daniels, we talked about his weakness was touch passes and kind of intermediate. I never saw him have contested catches because he was so open, right? And Chris Olave, same thing. Everything was a short pass he took to the house or a catching it 40 yards down the field. I didn't see him go over the middle. I'm not saying he can't. I just didn't see it. Where like Jamar Chase, we saw him go over the middle. Now that's more Joe Burrow being willing to throw it over the middle.
True.
So that's my only concern with Nabers is he becomes Chris Olave, which there's worse things.
The worst thing that could happen is he gets stuck in the slot, and he shines in the slot. But if you want to uncap, like to truly tap into what Nabers has to offer, you got to move him around the formation.
It's CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was stuck in the slot and was 90 catches for 1,100 yards, and we saw what they did last year.
5 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns.
Now, he's a 12 touchdown, 120 catch, 1,400 yard guy.
Absolute
because he
monster.
can play everything. Put him in the slot when you need him there. Number 3, Rome Odunze.
Yeah.
Is that it right?
Rome Odunze.
Look at me.
Yeah,
I'm
it.
the fucking college guy up in here. He's a college guy. I'm becoming the college guy. I want to go back to college.
Go back to college.
My wife wouldn't
You
like
probably have eligibility left. You could play it.
Oh, what do I play? Waterboy?
Yeah.
Let's go. Rome Odunze, Washington, 6'3", 215. The guy's a fucking monster. I really like him, and I was tempted to put him at 2. But I think Nabers just athletically is just too good to put someone ahead of him. My high-end comp is Jamar Chase.
Hey, it's my high-end comp as well.
But bigger.
He is bigger, yeah.
And I also have Des Bryant. Not as good yak.
Okay.
Des Bryant was bulldozing.
So both Des Bryant and Jamar Chase were definitely more polished coming out. Rome is a little raw coming out. He needs a coach that's going to bring him along in the correct manner, right? He's like a sports car that's got a lot of horsepower, but you need somebody that knows how to handle that kind of power, right? You need somebody that can rein him in and actually use him in the right way. So that's why he is down. Like, it's a tier break for me. It's Marvin Harrison, and then tier, and then Malik Nabers, and then tier, and then Rome Odunze.
Right. But in most drafts, I'd say he would be number 1 or 2.
Yeah, he's not just a burner.
Like last year, he would have been way, way above your boy Quentin Johnston.
I agree 100%. He would have been above everybody. In any other draft year, Malik Nabers is going number 1 overall. Rome Odunze is going top 5.
Did you have a low-end comp for Odunze?
Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh, Jesus. So you love this guy, then.
I do. I think
that's almost better than a high. Who'd you ever?
Jamar Chase, yeah. Jamar Chase has a special place in my heart.
First ballot Hall of Famer, though.
Yeah. Larry Fitzgerald is the consummate wide receiver in my mind.
Really nice guy, too. A great guy. Great dreads. Great dreads. I can't say that.
Great dreads.
Great dreads.
Yeah. So, yeah, I do love him. And if it wasn't for the physical tools that Marvin Harrison and Malik Nabers possessed, just the actual talent behind it, then Rome would be up there.
All right, number 4 from PFF, we have Brian Thomas Jr., another LSU guy. He's a physical specimen, 6'3", 209, ran a 4.33. That's sick.
Yeah.
That's sick. He's this year's Quentin Johnston in my minds.
So you got him down.
I got him at 10.
Okay. I have him at 5.
Okay, 10.
That's low.
And I think it was Sims, the bonehead Sims, had Thomas and Nabers ahead of Harrison. had fucking Thomas ahead of Harrison.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
That's
he
just
does
for
that
clicks.
shit. Well, hey, man.
Which Sims?
Chris Sims.
Chris Sims?
The
Yeah,
bus quarterback piece of shit. His dad at CTE, you can't even talk. I just have one comp for him. It's a worse version of George Pickens, but faster. So George Pickens.
Yeah, I should probably move Brian Thomas down because my comps.
Because I said he's at 10, and you're like, he's.
Well, I'm looking at my comps here. I got T. Higgins as the high end comp, and Corey Davis as the low end comp. Both of them have had their flashes in the NFL, but neither one has been a long term star.
I'm still pissed about Corey Davis flaming out and retiring because he was a fucking beast. What happened to that guy?
Well, I mean, I think it's the same thing here with Brian Thomas. You've got a unique combination of size, speed, height, weight, burst, explosiveness, all that kind of stuff. He's a great vertical threat. He was overshadowed by Malik Nabers, of course, but he's very, very raw. He's
very raw.
Yeah, he's not as
call him sushi.
he's not as physical as you would want for somebody of this size, and that's going to be a real problem getting off press in the NFL.
His nickname on the show has got to be Sushi.
Sushi?
Yeah, he's raw, bro.
Okay,
Sushi.
he's raw.
I mean, he's just Sushi. And the thing is, with Corey Davis is your low-end comp. What I saw from Corey Davis in college was a savvy player and a badass. I don't see any savviness. I see body catch after body catch after body catch. Super athletic, super big. I love it. Also helps when you have neighbors next to you and this awesome quarterback. You like Jaden Daniels, apparently.
I do like Jaden Daniels. Consider, though, Brian Thomas. So we're kind of doing each other here. That this is Brian Thomas has. You got to be sure that last season wasn't just a one-off, right? Like he doesn't have a long career of production too. So there are some concerns. I do kind of think I need to move him down.
I only use the if a guy I don't like. If a guy I don't like has 1 year, I'll use that against him. If a guy I like has 1 year, I say it doesn't matter because his athletic traits are too good. I'm just going to use that. I'm just saying, for a guy coming forward, I'm going to use that. Number 5.
Confirmation bias at its
finest.
Yes,
that's what I do. That's what we all do, folks. Don't fucking lie. We all do that shit. We have guys we like, girls we like, types we like.
No, I'm not. We all have
dogs
biases.
we like. I like golden retrievers. I think everyone does.
They shed a lot, but they're great dogs.
They do. Great dogs. And they smell if you don't groom them.
Hmm.
Is it Adonai Mitchell?
Adonai.
Adonai? I don't like saying that.
Yeah. Just call him AD. A lot of people have started calling him AD
Mitchell. Because that's a weird name. Number 5, went to Texas, 6'4", 196, pretty big boy.
Yeah.
Ran a 4.34.
I love this guy.
That's big time.
I've got him at 4.
And actually, he's 6'2". That's wrong.
Yeah. What do they have him at?
6'4".
I was gonna say he's not 6'4". Yeah.
6'2".
No.
Where do you have him?
I've got him 4. 4 for me.
I have a 7.
Okay.
Because I like to have the late guys.
Yeah. What don't you like about him? Let's start with that.
Well, 90% body catcher, and I'm quoting my man Steve Smith. He is a wide receiver guru, Steve Smith Sr. He knows wide receiver position, and he still likes this guy. But he did the math apparently. And again, I didn't actually check his math. It's like NASA. I didn't check the calculations. But when I saw him, he was catching here. I don't like that. And my comp, I don't have a low end. I don't have a high end. You're gonna like this. I don't know if you're going to like it for where you have him ranked. Sammy Watkins.
Sammy Watkins was good for a little while, but...
Yes, and he was also 5th overall draft pick in the NFL draft, if you recall, the first receiver taken.
Right.
Why? Because he was super fast, not too tall, but pretty thick. He's Mitchell, man.
Yeah.
It's not bad. But it's not where he's going to be taken in the NFL draft. He's going to be taken in the fucking late first round.
He will be taken high. He will be taken in the first round. And I'm not sure if that's too high. Mike Wallace as my high-end comp. And I think there's definitely potential. He is...
That's not a good high-end comp.
No, he's a... This... Let me clarify that a little bit. Adonai Mitchell he's a project. He's not coming out and he's going to be a stud like the first couple of guys that we mentioned. There is a lot of nurturing that needs to be done, but he has a great trajectory. He's got a long track record of performance. He could make an impact in the NFL, and that's what I feel that Mike Wallace has behind him.
Right. Mike Wallace was a guy in the field 90% of the time running go routes.
Right.
And occasionally, every 2 games, catching a 70-yard touchdown.
Mitchell he's
also making fucking bonehead decisions, dropping passes, and fumbling.
Right. Mitchell's got better hands. He's got great hands. Very strong.
He has a great body.
I understand, but go back and watch some of the catches that he makes.
I've watched a lot.
Okay,
he maybe has some highlight catches. What about the routine one where he fucking brings it in? Does not high point the ball at all.
Needs to clean that up. I get it.
You got a high point, dude.
But what about his separation?
Unmatched,
right? And especially in
same with Brian Thomas, unmatched. But the difference is in the NFL that 4-yard gap is now a 2-foot gap. So if you're not high pointing the ball and you're catching with your body, Quentin Johnston, dude, I'm telling you, Quentin Johnston, want to know why? He wasn't attacking the ball. The ball was just getting deflected or ripped out of his hands. So I'm not everyone's Quentin Johnston. I'm just
I get it.
That's why these guys do bust. Kevin White's of the world. That was injuries, but also the guy wasn't a fucking receiver.
94th percentile 40, 91st percentile vertical, 80th percentile 10-yard, 100th percentile broad jump. You don't get better measurables than this guy.
If this was track and field, I'd draft him number 1 overall. Unfortunately, this is the game of football. So
that's fair.
That's why I have it 7. Hey, I still have it 7. All the things I said, his athletic. I could be wrong in this one. I said the same thing about Quentin Johnston last year. Could be way wrong. I think he's gonna take a while, as in a year or two. And the problem is that sometimes is all you get.
Yeah.
If you're not a top 10 pick.
It could be feast or famine for him. Like, as a boundary receiver, he doesn't profile in the slot. So as a boundary receiver, it could be, if you're right, and he doesn't have the ball skills that I think, then yeah, it could be very, very bad. But it could be very good if, in fact, it was just hidden.
It could be Sammy Watkins doesn't get an injury and actually progresses his career. Sammy Watkins had a nice little track record.
Buffalo,
and I don't know what
Kansas
happened.
City.
I love Sammy Watkins, so maybe it's just the fact that I comped him to him. I don't like him.
That's rough.
All right, number 6, Lad McConkey the Donkey. Yeah. As I call him, Hunter Renfrow. And Hunter Renfrow had one really, really badass year with that China route. Remember that? The China route, the little thing he did in the end zone?
No, I don't remember that. I remember Hunter Renfrow, your local accountant.
Yeah. What happened to him last year. Yeah. Where do you have him? He's at 6 PFF.
I have him 7.
Okay, I have him at 11.
Okay.
Don't like him.
What don't you like about him? Because I have my concerns as well.
Well, what's surprising to me is, he's a gamer, he's a winner, he's savvy, which you think I'd like. Also, with his measurables, 6 foot 186, not great, but 4.39 40.
Yeah.
He did not play that fast, though. Would you agree with that?
Did you watch most of his games? Because he played
I
all
probably
4 years
watched
at Georgia.
35 minutes of film on him.
Okay.
Which is like 7 videos.
My biggest problem with Lad McConkey is he didn't produce when Brock Bowers was on the field. He was outstanding, amazing when he was the primary read. When Brock Bowers was there was a game when he didn't have a catch when Brock Bowers was there. Near the end of the season,
disappearing act.
Yeah, that really bothers me. So he kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, not much production his first 3 years. It was a great year last year, but again, like we look, I shouldn't see a goose egg if you're going to be drafted in the top 10 wide receivers.
Especially not if you're the Hunter Renfrow slot type. They get the easy completions.
Right.
So how are you getting a goose egg? You're not going down the field.
Yeah, what do they have listed at for height?
6 foot 186.
Okay, that seems about right.
So you have him at 7?
I do have him at 7, yeah.
You like him?
I do like him. That might be a bit of a bias. He was on my fantasy team
I think he's pro ready, right? Like, yeah. I think he's ready to see the field to contribute. And the worry is, for me, having him at 11 is a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown. That he is a souped-up version of that, if you want to go metrics. And he has the pedigree. St. Brown is just such a fucking dog.
He is a dog.
And I love St. Brown coming out. He was really late, 4th, 5th, 6th round, something like that. We'll see. Maybe it's my wide receiver confirmation bias. I don't fucking know. Like, I don't like white receivers. I don't like tall, really fast black dudes that can't catch.
Yeah,
Those are two guys I don't
Lad
like.
McConkey will get on the field, right? You're right. He's pro ready. He's got great precision, great ball tracking. He can get off the line, very quick, very explosive off the line. There's just some really,
What kind of comps do you have?
So I've got.
It's hard to comp him for me.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd as a high end, and then Elijah Moore as a low end.
Those are bad, though.
I know. I'm not thrilled about it.
Yeah, Elijah Moore. I mean, I still like Elijah Moore. I still like him, man. After that rookie year, I still like him.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what happened last year. Hey, he had like 80 catches or 78 catches last year, quietly on Cleveland. So, you know.
He had 80 catches last year?
Yeah. Well, I bet his over, it was 61 catches. I bet it over. And he hit that like week 15.
Well, you got lucky the couple of weeks that what's his name was out. Mark Cooper was out. I know. He became the go-to wide receiver.
I felt like that was just I like that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7.
What are your comps?
I just have Hunter Renfrow.
Just Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't know. I mean, I watched a lot of them, man, and I have a hard time with you'll see it later in my list with the Roman Wilsons, with Blake Corum, with Lad McConkey, with these great programs, savvy players translated to the NFL because they're almost certainly going to go in worse situations, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like their winning pedigree Doesn't work when you're on the Raiders.
We are getting to the point there where these guys will be drafted and they will not be starting. And so it's a wait-and-see approach. Now, a lot of these guys will come on later. There'll be guys that we don't even mention that will make a name for themselves.
Injury happens.
Right.
You know.
Ladd McConkey, though, he's a guy that can carve out a role.
And I feel like he'll be drafted as such. For a winning team, kind of how Puka was drafted in a way. Like a winning team that's going to use him as a specialist.
I can see Ladd McConkey being used on special teams, too.
Yeah. Okay, number 8. We're on number 8. Troy Franklin. Oregon receiver, 6'2", 175, pretty slight, 4.41 speed. I am at number 6.
I've got him at 8. So, yeah, you must like him a little more.
I didn't at first, but I think this guy is very pro-ready, and I think he comps. I have one comp for him. It's Jordan Addison.
Okay.
And I think that Addison, had a kind of hit or miss weird year, right, where he came on scoring all those touchdowns somehow, even though he didn't comp as a touchdown beast. And then kind of faded a little bit. He actually did worse without Jefferson for that little stretch, because it was all Hawkinson for that stretch.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison was, and I whiffed on him last year, man. I had him at like 8. I was wrong there. No, it was 8. Whitney Johnson was at 8. It was like 7 or 9. It was pretty low, and you scoffed at me. But this guy's a little bigger. He's taller, but slight. Addison's small too. The guy can play. The guy can run every route. I love his route tree. And I think he has above average hands, and I think he is pro-ready. That's why I have him at 6, and my comp is Jordan Addison.
Yeah, so for me, he profiles as a downfield burner, and I don't see that there's enough to his game for him to actually carve out a strong X role or even a Y role in the NFL. Well, for me, I'm just worried about his availability on the field. I don't think he's going to...
That's the problem, durability.
Yeah, I mean... He's an average blocker. He's a pretty light frame. He's going to get muscled at the line by bigger defenders. I just don't know that he's going to earn enough playing time for him to be relevant in either the NFL or in fantasy football to start his career. Do I think that he can improve and put on some weight and transform into a solid playmaker? Yeah, there's a possibility down the road. But year one, I just don't see that happening. So for me, he's a high end is Deontay Johnson. I think that's his absolute
bigger.
Yeah,
Deontay Johnson.
Yeah. And then low end is Tyquan Thornton, right? Just a downfield threat. That's basically all to his game.
Yeah, but Tyquan Thornton, as much as he was on my Deep Sleeper show last year, has never ran a route in the history of his life. This man can run a route.
He certainly is better than that.
So let me ask you this. What's the difference between Troy Franklin and Jordan Addison?
In terms of...
Just their game. They're similar profiles. Franklin's a little slighter just because he's 6'2". I think Addison's like 6 foot 180.
Yes, and he's shorter. Certainly.
Yeah, but I'm saying Franklin has a route tree, man, and he's got good hands. So I'm saying, what is the big difference for you? Because you liked Addison last year.
I did.
So I'm wondering why you don't like Franklin as much this year.
Addison is much better off the line. I think he's quicker, got more explosiveness to his game. I think he's got better hands in general. And yeah, he's speedy, he's crafty. He's just, I don't know that he's very effective in contested catch situations. And we did see Jordan Addison have a strong presence in contested catch situations on Minnesota last year. Now, he did not, when Justin Jefferson was out, I thought Jordan Addison did enough to maintain his role, and that did not turn out to be the case. So he definitely took a step back in my mind there. But he is the number 2 on that team, and I see Franklin as, at best, a number 3 on the team.
Okay. All right, let's get into the rest of our list, not going on consensus. You have anyone higher than 8? That you have
Xavier Legette.
Woo! Where do you got him?
I got him at 6.
I got him at 4.
Okay. I love this kid. I love this kid.
Let's go. He's like a Mingo, but better.
No, he's
dude. Consensus 13, by the way. Consensus PFF 13.
Is it really 13?
Yeah. This is our guy, dude. He only has 1 year, so we poo-poo on these guys. Was it a one-hit wonder? Because he did play 3 or 4 years, I believe. He's not that old.
He played 4 years at South Carolina.
Yeah.
4 years? 3 years.
Which is also...
the biggest knock to him is he had he had very minimal production in starting in college, and everything came last year. But I attribute that to a coach that saw the talent in him and decided to use him. Now, the biggest concern last year was he was such a playmaker that they had him on returns. Right. And he got hurt on return. He missed a few games. He missed 3 or 4 games because of this injury. He came back, and he was just as good as he was prior to it.
Before we get too much into him, let's just give his profile a little bit. 6'1", 228, and he ran a 4.39. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, the tape is faster, okay, if it's possible. That 230 pounds, he'll be 230 when he plays in the NFL. That is AJ fucking Brown, DK Metcalf level fucking athleticism. And dude, the high pointing is there. The hands, they're a work in progress, but not a body catcher, man. He does use his hands, and like when he gets the ball, and there's 3 DBs even with him, 8 yards later he is 3 yards past these guys, and they're never catching him. He has 40 pounds on these dudes.
You said it, 4.3 speed, 86 percentile in the 40, but he plays faster. Like when you're talking about slapping on the pads, like the 40 doesn't matter for this guy. 93 percentile in the vertical. 86 in the 10-yard, or excuse me, 81 in the broad jump, 68 in the 10-yard, 81 in the wingspan. Like, he is just the combination of size, speed, athleticism. Like, you hit the nail on the head. That's DK Metcalf. And his after-the-catch ability reminds me of Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, those two guys, man, and, like, A.J. Brown's a little more polished than DK is, but they've proven that the route tree doesn't quite matter when you're that much of a freak. And this guy is a work in progress, but he's also an elite NFL level prospect, not college prospect. He's raw, but and my downside, my low end comps are Traylon Burks, which I think Traylon Burks ran like a 4.46, but he didn't quite look as fast. He was a little beefier, and Quentin Johnson.
Yeah, my downside is Brashad Perriman, and because there is downside here, he needs improvement in footwork. He needs improvement in explosiveness off the line. He needs to be smarter in some of the decisions that he makes. Not off the field, just on-field decisions. He sometimes makes the wrong cut, the wrong route, whatever it is. You can clean that up. But his upside, especially with these athletic traits, his upside is as high as anybody in this draft not named Marvin Harrison.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Nabers. I mean, we'll give Nabers,
give him the benefit of the doubt, right? Yeah, but you take out those top 3 guys.
Handling, dude, like I haven't seen much like it, and I fell in love again. Steve Smith, I'm gonna shout you out. He turned me on to this guy because I'd seen him. I saw his measurables, and I watched a little bit of his film, like just drinking beer and texting. And I dove deep into this dude, and there's not even that much film. Honestly, it's 1 year, 71 catches. I think he had 13 touchdowns. But holy shit, I'm so happy that you like him. I'm going to go to my next highest prospect.
Well, real quick, where do you think he gets drafted?
This is the biggest wild card in the world, right? It could be anywhere.
It won't be the first round most likely, unless the Raiders get frisky.
I think early third. I think we're high. He's 13.
He could jump into the second round if somebody falls in love with him.
Hey, Mingo did last year. Yeah. I was really high on Mingo. It didn't really pay off, but you know what? He was on Carolina. Yeah. And they like throwing the ball at Adam Thielen.
Anyway, this guy carried me to it. Not carried, but he contributed to my fantasy championship.
I'm super happy with that. This one you're not going to agree with me with. My number 5 is Xavier Worthy. And I try not to be about these combine heroes, these underwear Olympians, as we say. But I feel like the film is solid. I'm also going to shout out my man Steve Smith, who I can play. And other than that, I wouldn't have had him as high. I trust Steve Smith Sr. at his wide receiver evaluation. I have at number 5. He is a taller version of Tank Dell, which is saying something because his speed is, the guy ran a 4.21. Okay, and he plays that fast, but he has, now his hands are, again, body catcher, but you can get away with that when you're this fast.
I mean, 5'11", 165.
I know. I have 170 here.
Okay, fine.
That's small. Yeah. It's small, packing on a little bit of weight.
I mean, every defender is going to be able to knock him off his route.
Devontae Smith's very small.
He's slight. He's tall, though.
No, he's 6'1".
Taller than...
I guess.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, Devontae Smith, and he's actually kind of not busted.
My biggest concern with Xavier Worthy is just the drop-off in production last year. Like, tremendous... Not tremendous, but really good freshman camp. It was an outstanding freshman campaign. And then having more... passes thrown his way, he saw fewer yards and 4 fewer touchdowns.
Where do you have him?
I've got him. I didn't rank him, so he's outside my top 10.
Shit.
Yeah.
All right. And my low end comp is John Ross. I'm gonna admit to it. I mean, this is a boom bust. 5's really high, but I see the Devontae Smith angle a bit, and I like the taller Tank Dell. We saw Tank Dell dominate. This guy's faster than anyone in the field. If he can get his head, I don't know the kid's makeup. That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That is the problem, because I'm guessing he's a knucklehead. I'm just saying. I'm just guessing. It's not racist, guys. I swear. I'm just guessing he's a knucklehead. But if he's not a knucklehead, it'll be good.
I wonder if he's going to put weight on, though. Like
he has to.
Well, yeah.
Buy this man. It's gonna GoFundMe for Xavier Worthy and buy him fucking In-N-Out Burger or wherever the hell he's at, a Jack in the Box or even a Burger King. I don't care.
Yeah.
Get him some fucking Wendy's.
All right. Who rounds out your top 10 then?
Okay. Number 8, Malachi Corley.
I love Malachi Corley.
Okay.
From Western Kentucky.
He's
right?
the guy I had even higher. I had to bump him down because PFF consensus everywhere he's like 18, 20, 23. He's really low. Western Kentucky, 5'11", 220.
So the big question with him, was he a product of Western Kentucky's passing offense, outstanding passing offense last year?
No, because what his strength is breaking tackles and being a monster. And I get that that's part of the passing attack. He's raw. And I saw a lot from him that I saw from Rondale Moore in college, but he's bigger.
Ooh, Rondale Moore.
And Rondale Moore, remember that game he had against Ohio State?
Oh, yeah.
And believe it or not, Corley also had a great game against Ohio State. And Rondale Moore was what, 200 pounds?
Oh,
Rondale Moore
wasn't
he'd elude you. Corley runs through you.
5'11", 215.
Dude,
Yeah.
I saw he's up to 220.
Okay.
And he's raw, right? I have my upside comp. My guy, Steve Smith Sr.
You love this guy.
I do. No, that's my upside comp. Steve Smith.
I thought you meant he turned you on to him.
No,
man.
he did turn me on to him.
Okay.
Because I would never have gone down that far. Honestly, I watched the top 17 guys. He's outside of that. And, oh, man, he's raw. This could go really wrong, but the guy is a gamer. I love that. He's competitive. I saw an interview with him. He seemed like a great kid. Like all the boxes are checked there. Can he expand his route tree? Can he be more than just a Rondale Moore screen pass specialist, Curtis Samuel type? I think Curtis Samuel is this guy's baseline. Who's carved out a nice little role in the NFL.
That's
He's
fair.
got paid, dude.
That's a nice comp if you think about it. There's also the question of whether or not his production is a product of the conference in which he played.
I'm not even looking at his production. I'm watching the film.
Okay.
Just film. Just based on I know you're gonna say he's playing against lesser competition, but I saw him do well against Ohio State, and I've just never seen the guy get tackled by the first guy. And it's not even necessarily because he can juke him out and everything, but like he is just literally gonna make you earn that tackle.
He's probably the king in this draft.
I love it. He is. And Zay Flowers is similar. Zay Flowers is a little more athletic. He's more of a Brandon Cooks type, but like I see a little bit of comp of Zay Flowers, and we saw Zay Flowers ball out, man.
Kind of.
Made some knucklehead plays.
Yeah.
But Zay Flowers is good.
I think we expected more from Zay Flowers than Baltimore this year.
That's just because where he was drafted, and he got drafted a little higher than he should have. And
Probably, yeah.
he was on.
But without
Mark
Andrews, you should have had more.
But
By the way, did you hear
Flowers
the
is
NFL?
always going to be raw.
The NFL banned the hip drop tackle.
Yeah, that's fuck. That's another reason why I love Corley. Now you can't tackle him from behind.
Yeah,
dude, you can't tackle him from the front. I don't know. This is a guy I'm planting my flag on.
Yeah.
I think it's really out there, but a guy you should pay attention to.
Limited route tree too. I'm just trying to poke some holes in this.
100%. I mean, there's a reason he's at number 20, dude.
Yeah.
I can promise you he's going to be a steal because he's going to get drafted late.
Yeah, no, sure. I get it. I just don't see him being fantasy relevant next year.
No, and this isn't a fantasy show. This is our best prospects, though.
Oh, that's fair.
Right?
Okay.
It's all-encompassing, right? Sorry?
Yeah.
Who do you have that we haven't mentioned? I have one more guy.
Keon Coleman.
That's who I have.
Florida State.
Yeah. I'm going to shout out my man, Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, his name's Alec.
The actor?
I call him Alec Baldwin. His name's Alec. I just call him Alec. He's only 17, but he's a big college football fan. And I was watching some film today at work, and I was trying to figure out my list. I was like, who do you like? Guys that maybe are deeper. And he brought him up, and I had watched some film on him. He ran a 4.6, 6'3", 213 out of FSU. And I had him originally at 11. And I moved him up, and I moved down Lad McConkey.
Yeah, he's 9 for me.
Same here.
Yeah,
Right.
So, I mean, he's positioned...
But we're a little above consensus. He's like 11 or 12.
Yeah, I get that. I understand why. I mean, his size and speed are very good, right? 6'4", 215. He's a very physical presence.
4.6 is kind of thought as slow. But
that's one of my big problems, right? His 40 is in the 15th percentile. So not good for this class,
Plays a little
obviously. Raw, athletic specimen. But his route running needs a lot of work, especially his footwork and especially coming off the line. So he's got potential, right? You can see it in the burst when he catches the ball and he turns upfield. There's a lot there. It's just translating that game, the college game, to the NFL game. I think there's some steps in between, and it could take a while for him to develop into a regular contributor for a team.
Who is your comps? Do you have comps for him?
Yeah, so for him, I've got Allen Robinson. as a high-end comp, and then Drake London as a low-end comp.
Yeah, those are both similar. I mean, I like Drake London a lot. Those are really good comps. Too.
Yeah, no, I've soured on Drake London recently.
Do you want to know who the comp is?
Sure.
There's one comp.
Okay.
I wrote down. Went to NIU.
Oh, he's not even in the league anymore.
Kenny go all day. Kenny Galladay.
Yeah.
But Kenny Galladay came in immediately. Now, maybe that was Matt Stafford, who's a wide receiver dream to have, right? But Kenny Galladay, man, came in day one. Same exact measurables. 6'3". Galladay's a little bigger. Ran a 4.6 as well. People thought Galladay was slow. He was a little slow, but Galladay could go downfield.
Galladay was a beast.
Dude, Galladay was a beast for 4 years. Yeah. And I think it was more Galladay's will to play. Once he got signed up with the Giants, he quit. There was that clip of him doing the drills in the OTAs or whatever, where he just literally just prancing. I don't know what happened with Kenny Galladay, but the point is,
not gonna lie, he got paid though.
Kenny Galladay, if you get Keon Coleman, is probably gonna be a 3rd or 4th round pick, right? High 3rd. He's consensus 11 or 12.
He's probably day 3, so high.
If you get
4.
Kenny Galladay years 1 through 4 in the 3rd round this year, you're happy, are you not?
Yeah.
The guy had 70 catches. He led the league in touchdown 1 year. Kenny Galladay had 11 touchdown year, man.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's tough to remember.
It's a low to lead the league in touchdowns. 11.
Yeah, that was 11.
A little different than nowadays, but I'm saying. Keon Coleman, shout out Alec Baldwin. Love you for that one. Got any other names? Anything else? What about Roman Wilson?
Roman Wilson. He rounds out my top 10.
Okay, where do you got him?
I've got him at 10. So my high end is Tyler Lockett. My low end is Christian Kirk. They're very similar in their play style, their size, their speed, their athleticism. He got a lot of concerns about some of his physicality and his durability, but he showed that he can play very well in high pressure games, right? Every game last season was a playoff game for Michigan, and he's shown out in that. So with a team that values his speed, right? He's in the 86th percentile in the 40 in this class. The question is, again, his physicality. His bench press is down in the 27th percentile. If they can use him in the right ways in special teams, yeah, he's got a role in the NFL.
I didn't have him. It's so hard for me to gauge these. Like I said, the high profile, high program guys, winning guys. I think he has upside to be a starter.
It's there. It's just going to be a while.
Another guy I couldn't. This one's even tougher. Is Jermaine Burton.
From
Alabama. I didn't have him. I don't have either of those guys on my list. I'd probably have him at 12 or 13. Now, Burton actually wasn't even that fast. It was 4.45. But I didn't see him run a single route in the 3 videos I watched. It was literally deep pass. It was obviously, who's their quarterback? Milroe?
Jalen Milroe.
Yeah. He can only throw deep, and he has a super slow release.
It was such a weird year for Alabama wide receivers because they rotated through who would produce week in and week out. And you look back through Burton's game logs, and there was games when he had 2 catches for 13 yards.
Yeah.
And that's tough in the SEC.
All he can do is go deep.
I will give the audience a sleeper fantasy book pick this year. Keep an eye out for Isaiah Williams coming out of Illinois. I've got him comped to Jaden Reed. Very similar play style, very similar measurables, and there's a very distinct possibility if he goes in the 3rd round, which is possible.
Jaden Daniel. That's where
Jaden Reed
went, right? Yeah.
That he makes a name for himself.
And we did laugh at that pick last year. We admit when we were wrong. Folks.
I was wrong on that too. Yeah. I did say at some point he could carve out maybe a little small role, whatever.
Yeah, but, the little niche role.
Isaiah Williams from Illinois.
Last name, real quick, Jalen Polk, just a big name guy.
Yeah, I got to talk about him.
He's way down, consensus 16. I feel like he'll get drafted higher than that. He's slow, which is funny. He's a big play guy that's slow. If that makes any sense to you, he's a 4.5 guy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's slow.
What do they have him listed at for height?
He's 6'2", 204.
Okay.
High points the ball pretty well. I didn't rank him. He'd be up there again.
He's not ranked 13. For me. I'd probably put him somewhere around that, maybe 14, 15, 16.
But again, decent pedigree, experience.
Yeah, and played in big games, but he also a product of the Pac-12. So
last one, real quick. Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son. What do you think about him? We didn't mention him.
From USC, right?
Yeah, is it going to bite us?
6'3",
210, ran a really slow 40, but so did Jerry Rice. You know what Jerry Rice's 40 was?
No idea.
It was 4.7. It's not, it's not what it was back then. It was a unofficial.
Yeah.
It was 4.62, I think. Really low. Same with his son.
So the fact that Brendan Rice is down so far on a team that featured Caleb Williams should tell you something right there. The USC
and the fact that his dad is Jerry fucking Rice.
Did you know that there was a guy named Michael Jackson on USC's receiving team last year?
Did he touch all the fucking kids?
I just saw him like Michael Jackson catches a 10-yard pass. I'm like,
here's my only thing.
Fuck?
LeBron's son is getting propped up so much without any production because he's LeBron's son.
True.
Why is Jerry Rice's son not getting? He's getting propped down apparently.
Didn't have much.
Or he's
production.
just not good.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, I don't know. I watched a little bit of his film. He looked okay. I watched this film from watching Caleb Williams.
I think you could argue that Caleb Williams propped up a lot of these guys at USC.
All right, buddy.
All right.
And it's been a complete joy.